And hello, here we have yet another value, and it is the value of debt. Now, it's a very interesting value, and people say, "Is the value in that?" Well, it's all these values describe what the value actually is. So here, what debt actually is, and what we can do about it, and how it is not always bad, because people connect debt with problems and challenges and all that. Yes, of course, there is those as well. But we go through them, and as I say, in the 2 pages, it tells you a lot more. But this principle of debt is focused on well-managed debt and shows how to facilitate relationships with others. See, there are those who like to be self-sufficient and do not have any debts pending, but in reality, we cannot always be debt-free. And that's the reality. And most people need a mortgage, and it only becomes a debt when you can't afford to pay it anymore. And I'll talk a little bit more into that as well, but it's just an example. But even if it sounds contradictory, sometimes debt can have a constructive effect on our lives. See, although borrowing is not considered a positive thing, it does have value if we have the right attitude and act responsibly. See, don't go and buy something that you can't afford just because you need to have it. That is acting irresponsibly. But if you, for example, a mortgage, or you need to make car payments because you need transport and you can't afford to buy it outright, if you act responsibly, that is not debt. But we'll talk a little bit more into that as well. See, we think of debt primarily as loans, but borrowing for needs is much broader principles that can be applied to many situations. See, to ask for help requires humility. It's another value we've talked into. Borrowing, whether it is money, products, or help, lets us know that we are not sufficient in ourselves, and there is nothing wrong with that. But sometimes people's pride gets in the way of that, and they get into more and more trouble because they don't want other people to know that they are in trouble. There are so many people who are willing to help. See, there are financial independence may make us prideful and only trust and rely on money rather than interdependence, which is actually necessary for healthy relationships. See, we cannot be happy by being independent because we were designed to be relational. See, we will always be indebted to others who care for us. See, that's a totally different kind of debt. Indebted. And sometimes people care for you and help you, and that has nothing to do with money, but they do something for you, they do something with you, and you feel indebted to them, but you can always return that, be reciprocal. But there is so many people, debt is not about money necessarily. But yes, of course, it's got a lot to do with money. But if we just want to be self-sufficient, we don't care about anybody else, and I'm all right, Jack, don't look at me, look who I am. There's so many wealthy people who died miserably because money was everything to them. Because they were empty inside. They haven't got that feeling of significance. And the feeling of significance you can get without any money, even when you're in debt. It means success is for yourself, significant is something different altogether. And they're saying that once you've tasted significant, success will never be enough. You'll get it with this program. Just values-based leadership will give you that significance, and you can pay it forward and get other people to feel what you feel. And that's why another reason I do this, because 8 years ago, I saw this for the first time when we went to help start transformation of the beautiful country of Guatemala. And what I got in my heart in a week, when we trained 19,000 people to become facilitators, Guatemala is changing. That significance, that feeling of significance, I felt it there. And I want everybody else to feel that. I feel it every day when I get involved in this program, and I hope the same for you. And I am indebted to the program and indebted to the people of Guatemala, because we went to help them, but they gave me so much more than I feel I gave them. And I'm thankful for that. See? But there are times when all of us have a hard time filling our obligations. See, unusual situations may set us back financially or emotionally and cause us to be late. But most bankers or friends are not overly concerned about a few late payments. See, if we communicate promptly and timely, they will respect us for coming to them and explaining our situation. This builds trust and long-lasting friendships. See, that talks into the value I've just done, the value of integrity. That's integrity. Don't stick your head in the sand and forget all about it. This is real integrity, and these things happen. You know, like I know that my grandparents, my mother was telling me, And my grandparents used to tell me as well, they had an occasion, had a big straw roof. It's still, that home still stands. My auntie's in it is now a 1 meter thick thatched roof. And of course, when a fire happens, it burns quickly because that stuff is dry. So their farm burned down to the ground in the middle of the night. So they were outside with the young children. My mother was one of them, but only the clothes they stood in. My grandfather smiled. He was called the Smiler anyway. I don't know where I get it from. He was called the Smiler. He was also called Jan, by the way. And he says, "Oh, look at this fire. How beautiful a fire this is." But he was grateful. He was full of gratitude that he got his whole family out alive. And they, of course, they needed to borrow clothes. They needed to borrow all kinds of things. And people in the community came to them, and they were indebted to this community. They needed to probably go to the bank and borrow some money to get it up and going again. But they got up and going again. So that's kind of a situation that happened. But he was grateful for life and his family. It's an amazing story, but it's a wonderful story. I gladly tell because I love my grandparents dearly, and they had so many amazing attributes. I mention quite often in these values as well. But the fact that these things do happen in life, and we need to pick ourselves up. We need to do what we need to do to move forward again. I hope it makes sense. But then we have some benefits of people who control their debts. See, being responsible for debt will keep us aware of our relationships with others and will keep us accountable for our actions. Another one is it creates a sense of satisfaction and self-worth when a debt has been paid in full. I mean, how good do you feel when you pay that last house payment, when you pay that last car payment? Those kind of things give you such a wonderful feeling of satisfaction, of course. But there's also characteristics of a person who is in full control of his or her debt. And one of them is these people learn to work with and depend on others, develop good relationships, and are responsible. See, that's not irrational buying based on emotions because you need to have it. Like no time to delayed gratification doesn't happen anymore because we need it now. We'll pay for it later, and people don't realize what happens when you pay on credit cards. You go into a shop. If you sign on the dotted line, you get a shop card. Just now, you can spend £200, whatever dollars, whatever, right now. But people have no idea that the payments they have to make, they can't keep them up because they haven't got money in the first place. That should tell you something. Find another way to make some more money or some money before you spend money you haven't got on things that you don't need to impress people that you don't like. That is status, by the way. But yeah, that just came to me. But another characteristic is that they not only are in control of their debts, but they're also willing to help others in different ways as they realize that investing in others can be equally rewarding. And that's what we do with this program as well. We invest in others, and it is so rewarding, but it's another way that you might never have thought of before. So there's 2 steps to follow. Some steps to follow to help you understand and gain control of your debts. And one of them is be prompt with your payments and follow through on your commitment. See, this will favorably build your reputation. Did I say favorably? Favorably build your reputation. Then the second one is ask what you can do to help those who have helped you. See, be grateful and appreciative. See, and that's very important, the gratitude and being appreciative. But we can say thank you. But how many people do ask when people does them a favor or people have done something bigger for them? How many ask at some point, maybe not right there, but go back to them later, now, you did this for me. What can I do for you? It might be nothing, but that's beside the point. To even ask, it shows that you are grateful for what they've done. These are 2 simple steps. Which one are you going to take? Maybe there's another one altogether, but take a step to make sure that you control your debt and that you act more responsibly. And we will come back with another value very soon. Take care.